Okay, one button at a time. Path of salvation. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday night masterclass. My name is Derek, and as I look out, I see a whole spectrum of people, some of whom I've known for, somewhere in the neighborhood of a decade plus, and I've worked with many of you in different capacities. Some new YTT students, generations past YTT students, and it's an honor and a joy to be able to share in yoga with you in an ongoing way. And who's my new friend in the corner? Who's this? Oh, my name is Tim. Tim? Yeah. Thanks for being here, Tim. The format of this class, as most of you know, we hone in on a particular topic for the month. And my catchword for that, my catchword for that is masterclass. I put some thought into it. And even so, I'm a little daunted by our topic for February. It feels way bigger than me, or how am I going to do justice or present this in a way that's whole. So, title, it came to me in a flash. So, not even knowing really the definition of this word, I called it edicts of Tantra, edicts. And then I looked up, well, what is edict? I mean, it sounds kind of cool and old English and ye old edicts or something along those lines, but what does it mean? It means like a proclamation or a kind of rule or tenet. I'm like, okay, so I guess that's our inroad here, is that I'll share some of the guiding principles and tenets behind tantric yoga. Maybe we start by saying this. The yoga is born out of a deep and existential question. Something like, how did it sound? And it includes things like, how did I get here? What is existence after all? How do I suffer less? Or how do I live more fully and bountifully and joyfully? And what's my relationship to spirit? And what's my relationship to the world? And how do you do all these things in a way that is resonant, that's true, that's revealing? And so through the ages, many yogis, the generations of yogis before us went about teasing apart these questions and looking deeply into the nature, the lattice, the matrix of the creation and the creation's relationship to spirit, and made some very profound discoveries. And some of them leaned a little bit more towards Patanjali's end of the conversation and said, okay, so yoga is about stilling the mind. Mind is the rascal in all this, and veils or distorts the presence of spirit, and kind of went about it in a meditative way. And others looked at the human condition, our existence, and said, you know what? The most essential thing, the thing that our soul is yearning and most hungry for, is love, is God's love, and celebrating that. Bhakti yoga. So it's been a a fascinated and multifaceted kind of pursuit. And somewhere upon the limbs of history, the tantrics showed up. And they, now see, I said I would get stumped, right? Like, here's the big one, how to crack this nut. Because Tantra is so multifaceted. And by the way, and for the record, when I say Tantra, I'm not talking about the same impression you might get if you Google Tantra images, please satiate me. No, that's not, we're go a little further back, pre-internet, tantric wisdom. One of the definitions is like a loom or to weave, a loom or to weave. So a synthesis of varying techniques and ideologies and dimensions to create something, draw upon all the multifaceted threads of our experience, Threads of your experience include your five senses, your sense of sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell. Like, what's that magic about? And what's underneath that? Or particular faculties in the mind, like will. How do you kind of go full tilt into this thing called will, and what's its potential? Or the five elements, right? Those are constituent elements that make up the material universe, right? All these many ingredients, and how do you go about the loom? The loom in such a way that you become the most empowered and full and envisioned, realized version of your particular journey on this earth, in this cosmos, in this universe, in a way that's fully realized. Realized not in the sense that, or realized on many levels and dimensions. Materially, your needs are provided for, as well as in subtler dimensions. Right? So Tantra is generous in these two ways. One, all of life is sacred. Well, we can just give up the search, right? All of life is sacred. And there's things in life that happen that we gravitate towards, we prefer, we like, and then there's those things that we'd rather not be there. And that's part of the sacred dance too. In fact, they define one another. They're the compost for one another. Life sacred. Generous premise, and we'll probably dive into a little bit more of that a dedicated session. And then, what was the second one? I forgot. Came to me. So life sacred. And, well, we'll just pick this one because there's so many. There's so many threads of this looming. And the proposition is this, that we can realize this. In fact, the body is a part of the sacred matrix as well. Your unique human body has a unique potential within it. This unique shrine is capable of realizing the loom, the weaving. Other translations for Tantra limitless, limitless. Okay, so that's the sandbox we're in for this month. And by the way, the tantrics are responsible for yoga asana as well, right? That was their contribution through the lens of Hatha Yoga, which we all know is a even more multifaceted kind of system. So there's so many entry points to this greater dynamic and living wholeness that we're exploring. Okay. That said, let's start seated here. It doesn't look like we have any Zoom friends joining us today, so I'll just turn this down.